guys, it's Alex here from the old Dex, and as you can see by this awesome microphone that I have here and the title of the video that you're watching, we are announcing, and we are proud to announce it, the Dex Podcast, where me, Kells, and Jimmy just every week talk about Pokemon news, and we do a top 5 having to do with something Pokemon related, and then there's a community segment where, we ask a question, answer a question, you guys can email us and stuff, and it's going to happen every week. If you're a Patreon subscriber, you get access to it right away each and every week, or if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you get it a month delayed. So a month has passed since we started the Patreon, so it started hitting the iTunes store now. What's going to follow after this little clip right now is the first ever episode, and then if you follow the link in the description below, it's going to lead you to the iTunes page where you can subscribe to the podcast and listen to them on the internet if you don't have iTunes or whatever you need to listen to it. Or you can go right to iTunes, subscribe, and then listen to it from your phone. So, this Dex podcast is going to go on forever. It's awesome. These microphones sound awesome. And I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye! Hey everybody, welcome to the very first ever Dex podcast.
Hey there.
Hi.
I'm Alex.
My name is Jimmy.
And I'm Kelly.
And together we run the YouTube show, The Dex, which you obviously probably know about as this podcast is currently only available to Patreon supporters.
Right.
We're thinking about maybe releasing it maybe a month late for people who aren't with Patreon. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I also want to apologize for the quality of the audio this week. This is our first podcast, so we're trying to sort of work out the kinks with it. It's going to sound better next week.
Right.
I know there's a lot of ambient noise right now. But how's everybody doing?
I'm doing pretty good today.
Great.
Not sick anymore. I was sick for the past 3 days.
Oh, God.
I was kind of dreading the fact that we would be recording stuff on today, and I just, got the worst sleep last night and ended up getting better this morning. So,
Good.
there we go.
We all got sick at the same time,
Yeah.
so that was always a fun thing.
Yeah, it was an office-wide pandemic.
We've also just moved into an office,
Right.
And that's why you can hear all the street noise and stuff. Which we're gonna try and deal with it.
Yeah,
But,
hopefully that'll be gone
We're getting
soon
a room
enough.
set up for voice recording.
Right,
So
right.
maybe we'll do the other ones in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a podcast, so it's got a little bit of a structure to it. And typically the way we're going to do it is we're going to start with news, then we're going to move into sort of like some sort of list, top 5 list or something that we can just kind of go over. It's not going to be anything like super journalistic. It's just going to kind of be a fun thing to fuel our discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to end every week with a community segment. This podcast will typically last about 30 to 45 minutes, hopefully. But this is the first one, so we're going to kind of cool it down.
Yeah.
And just kind of try and talk about a little bit about the origin of the Dex today, and a little bit about what our own personal experiences with Pokemon.
Yeah, definitely.
So before we do that, though, let's talk about the news real quick, which is mostly centered around Pokemon Bank.
Yeah.
And we talked about this a little bit in our stream.
Yeah.
But since then, there has been an announcement as of tonight, which is the 22nd.
Okay.
That the Pokemon Bank service has been returned in Japan and Korea and a few other Asian countries.
Mm-hmm.
And in the next month or so, we're going to hear some more about it in other territories, the EU, North America, etc.
And it may even be less than a month. The news source, which was the Nintendo Twitter, was very kind of vague on the whole situation. It could be as soon as a couple days. So
It could be tonight. It literally, the eShop updates tonight. It could be tonight. What happened?
Sorry, I'm being a true Pokemon fan, and I'm Wonder Trading while we were podcasting. I just got a Vulpix. I'm really excited about that.
Oh,
Great.
cute.
No, but yeah, the Twitter it was kind of vague on the thing. It just said everybody stay tuned because there might be information soon, and it just kind of wasn't very
Yeah.
So, I suggest that you all go ahead and follow the Nintendo Twitter, Nintendo of America, I believe it is, and then Pokemon
Nintendo
itself
America,
has a
yeah.
Twitter. I'm sure sometimes the Pokemon Twitter doesn't do a whole lot in, the news section. That's usually you are on a summer vacation island. Which Pokemon do you want to have with you?
Yeah.
So,
What is a summer vacation island?
I didn't tweet it.
Hawaii.
Is that a real tweet?
Hawaii is.
No, it's, a summer vacation island is Hawaii.
So nobody tweeted it.
It really wasn't that good of a tweet, so
I mean,
left
I
it-
was
they saved it to
trying to make a
drafts?
point about Pokemon not tweeting very well sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
It was a
No offense,
satirical.
Pokemon.
It was a satirical reference to something that didn't exist.
Come on, dude. Come on, Alex. Let's
That's
do
okay. So yeah, I mean that's the basics of it. We were talking about Pokebank. Now you guys are wonder trading and trying to get Pokemon Bank stuff. You got an Ammonite already, right?
Yeah, actually, I just got a Horsey. Are Horsey available in X and Y right now?
Oh,
I
you
think
can
so.
get a horse.
But
Okay,
you also got a
um,
Chimchar, right?
I got a Jolly Chimchar with Iron Fist. I got an Ammonite. Kel's got a Meowth the other day. Like, yeah, so I mean, since Pokebank's available in Japan, we're able to wonder trade with people who are like trading it to their friends, and those friends are breeding for, you know, competitive Ammonite, competitive Chimchar, or Infernape, and they're wonder trading out the leftovers essentially, and that's spreading these Pokebanked Pokemon to the rest of the world who doesn't have it already, which is really cool.
Which is nice, yeah.
Yeah,
I like
it's
that.
great that even though we can't get it, even though Nintendo, not dropping the ball, but even though they're having technical difficulties
Please understand.
with that.
That was a horrible impression of Satoru Iwata.
I don't know. I am not a 40-year-old male.
What I'm trying to say is, even though all that's going down, it's cool that there's still a way, because of this great, easy online capability, that I'm literally like getting Pokemon that I
As
didn't
we
have
speak.
before.
I gotta
right
say, Wonder
now.
Trade is one of my favorite features in the new Pokemon X
It's
and Y.
very,
It's
very
amazing.
awesome.
It's pretty
awesome.
cool, yeah.
So, anyway, I guess we
Anyway,
should
yeah.
talk a little bit about who we are and what we do.
Yeah, we're gonna move out of the news segment. Normally, right here would be the top 5, but because it's the first one,
Right.
it's important to do that. So
Set the stage.
Yeah. So Kels, why don't you start off?
Well, my name's Kelly, and I usually go by PokeKels on my show, which is the Dex, as you all know now. Alex and I co-host, and basically, I mean, I guess Alex and I met through an improv group that we both do, called Comedy Sports. We both joined the same year, and then from there we just became friends and stuff. But I guess my experience with Pokemon started. I mean, it started with Pokemon Red, and it actually started with the card game. My first introduction to World of Pokemon was when my friend, I went over to her house and she was like, "Look at this!" And it was an Abra Pokemon card, and she's like, "You can have this one. These are Pokemon." And I was like, "Oh!" And then from then on, I guess I was kind of lost. And then I finally, my first actually video game system that I ever had was a Game Boy, original Game Boy. Because I didn't have like an SNES or anything like that. And so I had Kirby's Block Ball and I had Pokemon, and those were the two, Kirby's Dream Land and I had Pokemon. Those were my two first games that I had. All my other video game experience was arcades and friends' houses. So needless to say, I got super into these two games that I only had those ones. So
Right, and Pokemon being the more extensive of the two.
I played the heck out of it.
Yeah.
And then since then I've just kind of been a huge fan of it. I'm really into the collecting side of Pokemon. If you have any questions about breeding, Pokemon origins, and like collecting and catching them all, I'm the one to ask. That's me.
Great. What about you, Jimmy?
I mean, I guess being around the same age as Kelly, I got into Pokemon in a similar way. I'm sure that I saw the cards or I knew about the cards at one point. I don't remember if it was before or after I was into the games. I definitely watched the anime from day one. When I was young and I would just like wake up at 6 a.m. on a Saturday to see whatever the WB had on or whatever network had on.
That was the only thing that got me up for school, actually.
Like, I was fine with school. I was homeschooled, and so like I was able to have a lot of time to play video games and to, build Legos and just like have a lot of time to myself. And so I probably ended up getting into longer games like Pokemon and Zelda because of that. And so I started with Pokemon Yellow. Actually, I was the odd man out that never had Red or Blue, and so I never got to do the item cloning glitch. I never got to find Missing No. I never got to do all the staple stuff that all my friends could do, so I had to like legitimately train my Pokemon and like beat the game, legitimately know 100 Master Balls and stuff. And I don't know, from there it kind of spiraled. I got both gold and silver, gold and silver. The Christmas that they came out, just got them both on the day they came out with the guide, and I played the hell out of those.
They're great. They're my favorites.
Oh gosh, I mean, that's where my love of Scizor spawns from. My favorite Pokemon is because I had a level 80 something Scizor in like my gold version back when I was like 12 or something.
Yeah, like super young.
And so like that was like my life that I poured into that Scizor. But I don't know. I mean, it spiraled from there. I played a lot of Gen 3. and I kind of just like fell off at Gen 4. And recently, I met up with Gerard Cleo, the completionist, as an intern. I was editing for his show, and he kind of put me together with Alex and Kels to work on the decks because they needed an editor. They needed like somebody to help with the format and stuff. And
he never worked on the completionist again.
Yeah, literally, like maybe camera work, but I haven't edited for Gerard in a long time. And because I've just been working all my time spent here is working on the decks.
We're so glad that we got you.
But yeah, so I mean, after I started hanging out with Alex and Kels, they got me into Gen 5. I bought black, I bought white too, bought a 3DS for X and Y, so...
Like in the course of like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I just like splurged on all this Pokemon stuff because I was just like renewed childhood excitement all back again.
Great.
So how about you, Alex?
I know that I was into Pokemon before the game was out, I think. Because I lived in an area where there were a lot of Japanese kids in school.
Right.
And they were all into it a little bit before us.
Of course.
Just because they could speak Japanese and they'd play the games and they'd go to the Japanese markets and buy the Japanese cards and stuff. And so I knew the names of all the Pokemon.
Yeah.
I don't even remember most of them now, but I knew a lot of the Japanese names of the Pokemon and I knew a lot of that stuff. And then I remember when I got a Game Boy Color and I got Pokemon Red at the same time one Christmas. I think it was 98 or 97 or something like that. And I remember my first memory of Pokemon was I was like voraciously devouring it because this was the first portable console that I ever had.
Right.
First of all, so I was like I was at my grandma's house and she didn't have anything. She had like web TV was the closest thing she had to a console. But she didn't have any of that stuff. So like sitting in the living room, I was like playing Pokemon and I was like dying just because I was so excited. But I remember being frustrated at first that you couldn't capture Pokemon because you gotta do that first little mission and get the ball and all that stuff. And I didn't ever realize that. I didn't like know that was a thing in the games. And so I was like,
because all your friends were like past that point.
Yeah, I didn't watch them play the first like 25 minutes of the game. Like who does?
Yeah.
And so I was like, how do I catch them? I remember seeing like all these Pokemon be like, catch it. And I like got mad and I like couldn't do it. And then I luckily I didn't
quit.
Yeah, luckily I didn't throw it away. But yeah, ever since then I literally like haven't stopped playing. And it's funny because I'm out of college now, so it's like a different situation. But like when I was in middle school and oh my god, is that a car alarm? Great.
It's a Pokemon cry.
That's
everyone.
okay.
Yeah, it's cool.
I'm just gonna power through it and hope that the background music doesn't.
Right.
Yeah. What was I even talking about now?
You're out of college.
Oh, I'm out of college, but like throughout my life, like every time that a new game would come out, like each gen. Oh my god, it's so distracting. Every time each gen would come out, I would like start like a little renaissance of Pokemon at my school with like 4 or 5 friends who like, Pokemon is a game that's really nostalgic, and so it's like really easy for it to like spread like that.
Yeah, I mean, just look at me.
Yeah, and so it was just crazy. Like every time, like there would be like I would play it, and then like people would be like, "Oh my god, is that Pokemon?" Because I'd like take it to school,
right?
And like sometimes I would play it in class and stuff, and like like life skills class, all those like boring classes.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where like there'd be like 10 or 12 guys like who'd just like be the guys who were playing Pokemon, and then like other people would start playing Pokemon and pretend like they didn't know that we were playing Pokemon, and then we'd like have like rivalries and we'd like.
I wish my school was like that. I always played Pokemon really quietly, and then someone tried to bring back the original Red and Blue games, and I was like, I completed that Pokedex so long ago. I'm trying to complete my Ruby Sapphire Pokedex, guys. Get away from me.
Please.
I brought my GameCube with Pokemon Coliseum in my backpack one time in my science class with one of those, you know how they have those
the little screen you put on top of it.
Yeah, and I had like a big backpack. I carried out all my books every day, and so one day I was like, what if I just didn't carry my books and I just carried my GameCube? And I did it, and I was in a science class, so I just plugged it in on the table because it was like a lab table. Put my water bottle in front of it so you couldn't see the thing, and then I played Pokemon Coliseum in class.
That's beautiful.
For like 3 weeks.
How did you not fail out of school?
I didn't. I'm really smart.
I mean, I can attest to that because I had a small group of friends, like 2 or 3 people in my geometry class that like we would play Diamond and Pearl every day, and we'd like chase each other around the tunnels and like find each other's hideouts and stuff.
Oh, that
and,
must have been fun. Nobody had Diamond and Pearl. I got platinum like 2 years after it came out, so like no one was playing Underground.
I was already in college.
Yeah. Well. Anyway, so continue.
Pokemon's a nice community experience.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, and so I've been playing it forever. I almost failed out of college with Gen 4.
There we go.
I literally would like be up in my underwear, like those. I don't know if they have them anymore because I don't really drink energy drinks anymore.
Right.
But the monster, it was a Rockstar. They have the juice ones.
Yeah.
There was one that was like purple. That was like some kind of like sweet, like guava or something like that.
Okay.
And I would drink one of those probably every day. God. I'd stay up in my underwear with my roommate Zach, and we'd sit on the couch till like 6 in the morning and just like play Pokemon.
Sounds cute.
That's when I witnessed him get in his Emerald version, which he bought just to get the Rayquaza out of it. And he was playing through the whole game. I saw him encounter a shiny yellow Groudon and flail it to death.
Oh my god.
And he grabbed his DS and he threw it across the room and like broke, like he slammed the stylus into it and like broke it and like pulled it apart and stuff.
Oh my god.
And he didn't play Pokemon for like about 4 days. But then we were just back. In Gen 4, I probably did a total, smooch him. I did it about, Jimmy just got a smooch him on Wonder Trade, you guys.
Smooch him.
Yeah, I probably put in Gen 4 about 1,000 hours altogether.
That's nuts.
Crazy.
That's insane.
Gen 5, not so much. Gen 6, I'm like back in a big way.
Yeah.
I'm already up to like 250, 300 hours, somewhere in there.
I mean, I'm not that far. I'm about 126 hours in now. After
218, 44.
Like, definitely the most that I've ever tracked in a Pokemon game that I've ever like recognized myself playing. Yeah. I might have put a lot into Ruby and Sapphire combined, but I lost both of those cartridges, like all of my Game Boy Advance games that I don't have anymore. My 50-hour file into Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced is gone. Never beat it.
Brutality.
It's terrible.
It's so hard when you lose a file. It makes you so hard to like come back to it.
Yeah.
Like I had like 98% done on Banjo-Kazooie, and my neighbor deleted it, and I was like, I didn't play the game for like half a year, but I loved it so much that I had to eventually.
I can't believe that you had that precise control over your breath just now.
It was perfect. I hope that picked up correctly on the audio. I hope everybody gets to hear that.
That was amazing. But yeah, so that's us. And yeah, this is gonna be sort of a short one. I'm trying to think of what. So okay, sorry, I'm gonna move on. Normally there'd be a commercial break here after the top 5 segment, and then we go into the community segment afterwards. And the commercial break's gonna be fun. We'll talk about like what's going on in Gerard's show, or what's like a hint about our show.
Like our commercials.
Yeah, and maybe like a fun like promo for like
Dr.
somebody. A promo for somebody who's like not, in our office.
Right.
Yeah,
who
like
we
channels we like, things that
Just
you should
cool
check out.
people.
Yeah.
Great.
Cool
yeah.
people.
But then we'll go into the community segment, which is normally right here. But since I don't have a question to read from,
Like
From
fresh
the
and
community.
ready.
from last week,
Right.
to read everybody's answers, because we'll read answers. So we don't have an email set up yet, but for now, just send stuff to TheNationalDex@gmail.com.
Okay.
That's easy enough. It's the same as our YouTube channel, TheNationalDex@gmail.com. I want to hear suggestions for the name of this cast. I want to hear suggestions for some type of fan remix that we can use as the theme song for this podcast.
Oh, cool.
I don't know what I'm going to use this week yet. I haven't decided.
Right.
We'll figure it out.
It's gotta be cool.
I want to hear ideas for questions of the week. And I want to hear ideas for additions to the podcast. And before you ask, and I bet you a lot of you are going to ask, are we going to have guests on this podcast? And the answer to that is a resounding yes. We know plenty of Pokemon YouTubers and just YouTubers in general who'd probably love to be on the show.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that's what's going to happen. Is I think we're going to do that, all that kind of stuff here. So just send those questions and answers and ideas to the TheNationalDex at gmail.com, and we'll sort it out. So this is the end of the first little podcast. Thank you for donating through Patreon, and like I said, we'll probably make this available to more people, and in some
Down the line,
in some sort of like delayed fashion. Maybe even
Right.
get it on iTunes.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all you patrons will get it. We'll get it.
But in the meantime, yeah, it started now and it's going to continue every week from now on, and you're going to be at least 4 episodes ahead at any point. So,
and since we're doing top 5 lists, like give us suggestions for like top 5 whatevers you want to know
exactly.
about our experiences.
Yeah, and we'll talk about them forever, and it'll be great. And this podcast will probably end up being much longer than we originally intended it to be.
Right.
Each and every time.
Like we said 15 minutes and we're already at
We're almost
19.
at 20. Yeah. But in any case, I've been Alex.
I'm Jimmy.
And I'm Pokekel.
And we'll see you next time on the Dex podcast, or whatever the hell it's called. See you next time, guys.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.